A new report warns Australia will be unprepared for near-term conflict due to the government's focus on future military capabilities. The Australian Strategic Policy Institute says prioritising long-term defence plans like AUKUS has left the Defence Force with limited ammunitions and stock, a lack of critical defence systems. Joining me live is Executive Director of the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, Justin Bassi. Justin, first of all, give us a sense of what this report by your colleagues has come up with, essentially that we're not doing enough soon enough.
That's right, Kieran. Don't get us wrong. Australia spends a lot of money on defence already. It's not that we're not spending money on defence. But the government's own assessment is that we are living in increasingly dangerous times, the most dangerous times since the end of World War II. That assessment, with which we agree, is not being matched by an appropriate increase in defence spending. As you say, we are spending a lot of money, as we should, on these exquisite capabilities that are likely to come to fruition in the late 2030s, 2040s, like the AUKUS submarines. But with the world as dangerous as it is, so many national security threats, there is a risk that we have a gap in the short term.
And so what needs to be done then?
We need to be looking at what we can produce locally. We need to be looking at what the rest of the world has been doing since Russia's war on Ukraine, particularly in the area of cheaper, mass-produced capabilities like drones and counter-drones. We have a number of companies in Australia that have the ability to produce these capabilities. They are cheaper, they can be mass-produced, and they're able to be done more quickly.
So it becomes almost an industry policy as well.
Very important. This is not something that government can do alone. It's got to be incentivised by government. Government has got to be explaining and bringing industry along, incentivising industry to come into the defence and national security space. In addition, we've got to have better strategic communications with the public. We've got to be willing to bring almost a form of social licence where we're saying to the public, unfortunately, the world has these threats that do impact Australia. And to counter these threats, we need to, unfortunately, spend more money.
But it's not just about imports, you're saying. So we're not spending it and just importing. You're saying to boost local industry with the drone capacity and missile capacity.
Absolutely. Sovereignty is often misunderstood. To have a sovereign capability is a mixture. It involves a combination of working with trusted partners, trusted and reliable partners on areas like AUKUS that bring in that really exquisite capability. But sovereignty is also about what can we produce locally? Because if there are tensions, if there is conflict, countries around the world will look to themselves first. And in areas like mass-produced drones, counter-drones, ammunition, we can't be second, third, fourth, fifth in the queue.
Well, there's also obviously supply chain issues as well.
Absolutely, there is.
In the event of any...
That's right. And that's why you need a mix. You need to have a level of local production, but you also can't just say sovereignty is only about local production. Okay. You need both.
The Prime Minister was asked about the report. He was on the radio. I want to play that for you and get your reaction to it and have a look.
That's what they do, isn't it, ASPI? I mean, seriously, they need to, I think, have a look at themselves as well and the way that they conduct themselves in debates. We've had a defence strategic review. We've got considerable additional investment going into defence, $10 billion. We're lifting up our defence expenditure up to 2.4% of GDP. We're investing in assets and our capability. We're also investing in our relationships in the region. That's very important as well. ASPI regularly produce these sort of reports, run by people who've been in a position to make a difference in the past as part of former governments. I think it's predictable, frankly.
The Prime Minister fired up there on your report. What do you say to that?
Sure. Well, ASPI's job is not to seek praise of any government. Our job, as set out in our charter, Kieran, is to provide alternative advice, lift the public debate, enhance the public debate. And I think the fact that the Prime Minister is across the report means that we are doing that. We're providing that alternative advice and people can agree or disagree. So that's absolutely fine.
Have you got? Can you rethink your ways of going about getting that advice in there, though?
Look, how you provide advice is absolutely vital. We've got to do so objectively, without emotion. That's absolutely critical. I would say that a number of the things the Prime Minister has had to say is correct. They are lifting defence. As I said before, we're not spending on defence, but the reference to 2.4% spend of GDP Kieran, that's a reference to what will be spent. That's a projection to 2033, 34, almost 10 years away. Our report is saying that's good. That's necessary to have those long-term spends like AUKUS submarines. But right now, this year, the spend in 2025-26 will be 2.05%. That is very similar to what was projected 8-10 years ago. But the world, as the government has assessed, is far more dangerous than it was 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago.
So you'll continue to crack on with your analysis and contributions, regardless of the critique from the Prime Minister?
As the Prime Minister said, ASPI has been doing this for our entire history. Our charter, set by the government, is to provide alternative advice. We've been doing these reports, these costs of defence reports, for over 10 years. Our job, as I said, is not to seek praise. Obviously, no one likes criticism, but we want to enhance the debate, and it doesn't matter whether people agree or disagree. The public really should be told what these threats are and why the policy settings are the way they are.
Finally, before you go, I've got to ask you about the Trump-Putin dance at the moment. What's happening here? The President says, President Trump says he wants to see in a few weeks whether he's just being played along by Putin, and if so, then he will act accordingly. What needs to happen here?
Sure. Well, I've got alternative advice for President Trump as well, Kieran, and that is that he's right when he says that he might be being played by Putin. He is being played by Putin. The recent pressure on social media by Trump is late, but better late than never. And it has seemingly resulted in Putin saying, well, maybe I need to come to the negotiating table. It is absolutely proof yet again that simply thinking that diplomacy and personal charm is going to change the mind of an authoritarian regime like in Moscow or in Beijing or in Tehran or Pyongyang, that is not going to change their behaviour. Unfortunately, we need hard power to act as a deterrent. We need both. And it is in the US hands, it is in the White House's hands to say we're going to put pressure on Putin to come to the table. We're going to increase sanctions. While it was just this week, of course, that Russia unloaded the largest drone and missile attack on Ukraine during the entire war. So what we've been doing, what the US has been doing up until this week, hasn't been working. We've got to change that, and that is through pressure. It's sanctions, it's providing more military kit to Ukraine, it's saying to Russia, you are the bad actor here, you are the aggressor, and we're going to put pressure on you to change your behaviour.
Justin, Bassi, thanks. We'll talk to you soon. Appreciate it.
Thanks.